Assalamu alaikum all. Please let me take an opportunity to introduce myself to you. I am Dr. Arabella Bhutto, working as professor in Mehran University Institute of Science, Technology and Development. Today I am thinking to share with you a new academic tool which is known as Lean Canvas for Invention. This is something like this. But before I talk about that tool with you, which is Lean Canvas for Invention, or in short we can call it LCI, I want to tell you a small story behind it. And I would like to also tell you that this will not be only one video which will talk about LCI, but it's going to be exclusively multiple videos that will follow. I started my journey of my postdoctorate of 9 months. And during those 9 months, I have learned a lot and I have developed that tool, which is LCI. I was very eager to work on my postdoctorate after completing my PhD, though it took me 10 years to get this process mature. But I feel whatever happens, it happens for a reason. And the reason is when I was working as professor, my practical knowledge helped me gain more insights. And when I went for my postdoctorate, I felt myself more mature, I felt myself more workable, and I felt that there was a time where I could convert whatever I have learned in my PhD into practical knowledge. Okay, I had a chance to do my master's from University of Sussex, and then I had a chance to go for my PhD into University of Nottingham. I also had my admission in University of Manchester for my postdoctorate, but then my vice chancellor said, "But why you keep on going to UK? Let's look for different options." I remember those days we were working in the university on UACID project. And in this UACID project, we have to sign the MOU with University of Utah. And my vice chancellor, along with others, also chose me to be into that event in USA. When we were there, vice chancellor signed the MOU, but at the same time, he also asked me to look for admission here in University of Utah for postdoctorate. I started to interact with the academic people there, with the directors there, and then gradually I had a chance to get my admission. Those days, I have recently won a scheme. There was Innovation Entrepreneurship Center. I had funding available for my postdoc. So using that funding and having my admission at University of Utah, I went for my postdoctorate. Of course, I had to submit a proposal, which I submitted, and on that I also got some feedback. I remember the first day when I was in University of Utah, my supervisor, along with two others, the director from Technology Transfer Office and a manager from Technology Transfer Office, we were all sitting together on a lunch. And I wanted to tell them, in fact, everything about my postdoc. I wanted to tell them what I want to do. I was telling them that very recently we have established Innovation Entrepreneurship Center in our university, and I want to learn every system of that center. I want to learn that how entrepreneurial universities can support the entrepreneurial ecosystem, and with that ecosystem, what that incubation center can play its role about. I wanted to know what academic inventors must do. I wanted to know what technology managers must do, how this team would be established, what processes we may run to make our Innovation Entrepreneurship Center successful. I remember I was telling them everything, and ultimately they said, "It's not going to be an easy journey. It's going to take a lot of your time and efforts." I said, "All right, I'm ready for it." At that moment, it was decided that I should be placed in a technology transfer office in University of Utah rather than sitting into an academic environment. The purpose sitting into the technology transfer office was that I could learn what are the routine practices which are running there. I can frequently interact with the directors, I can frequently interact with the managers, the analysts, and then start writing down what processes are required for our university to start or furnish our innovation center. Well, I was talking to them, I was making multiple interviews, I had many sittings with the directors, many sittings with the managers, many sittings with the analysts, and gradually I learned that when academic inventors visit the technology transfer office, in fact, technology manager faces multiple problems there in their institutions. I was interacting with them, I was listening to them, and I observed that there are several questions that they're asking from their academic inventors. And unfortunately, all questions they have to struggle by themselves to answer. I started writing down different questions, and you believe me, I had a list of 101 questions that people must interact and ask from the academic inventors who are working into the technology transfer offices. I discussed with my supervisor, and then I informed her that it is important that yes, I work on the entrepreneurial ecosystem, but this is also important that somehow certain mechanisms can come up through which we can bridge that knowledge asymmetries which are existing between the technology developers and technological managers. Particularly at the time when academic inventors or technology developers are visiting the technology transfer office for their invention disclosures. We had a long discussion, and then gradually I thought to give it a shape. And that shape, in fact, led me to this tool, which is Lean Canvas for Invention. Now, that is an academic tool. And that academic tool is not just few components on the canvas, but it's supported by a very in-depth kind of curricula that help us to understand that what are those questions and how those questions the academic inventors can answer when they are taking their inventions to the technology transfer offices for disclosures, for making patents, for licensing their patents, and of course, for launching their companies into the market. This tool, in fact, helps academic inventors to understand all these minute details that they have to share with the technology managers at the time of invention disclosures. I had a chance to teach that course 3 times in the University of Utah. Very first time, I taught that course to the students of the USAID who were working on water and sanitation technologies. Later on, I revisited that course, or I taught that course to some faculty members and some students of masters and PhDs who are belonging to civil engineering and electrical engineering. And third time, I taught that course in technology transfer office to the team, to the research teams who were supervised by the principal investigator, along with a couple of faculty members who were about to submit their projects to the National Science Foundation. All of them in fact gave a very strong feedback to that tool, and then I thought that this tool should be converted into a detailed curriculum. I came back, I developed that tool, I started working onto that tool extensively, and then that tool converted into a detailed curriculum, which I am planning now to offer to all the STEM graduates. All STEM graduates for the science, technology, engineering, and mathematics who are starting their journey for research, who want to see what they would like to do in the dissertation of their master's and PhD programs, and also to those who would like to submit their research proposals for the grants. This tool will help all of them to come up with certain inventions who will have a more potential to be commercialized later on. Because it's a time of entrepreneurship, it's a time of making businesses, and it's a time for creating jobs for others. You will see my different episodes. They will talk about different components of the LCI, different checklists which are associated with this component, along with different activities that individuals need to adapt and perform while developing their proposal. I'm confident that at the end, when all of these STEM graduates, or most of these STEM graduates, will come up with their research ideas by following that LCI as an academic tool, they will have a great research proposal ready for them. After which, there will be more chances that whatever the invention they come up with will have more chances for commercialization. So today, that's it. Thank you very much.